role will technology play then?
What do you mean by technology? I don't.
Well, I mean the laptop computer with
the software.
Okay.
Then people will be able to form their own communities, what I call mythic stages, around whatever software pattern they have a bias towards. So you can have a community of vegetarians who like wrestling. You have a community of meat eaters who like LSD. Or you can have people who want to live like the Amish, don't want anything to do with drugs. Any little setup will be possible. There'll be a voluntary way of building up community. Because the structure of what community always fought over, which was food and shelter, will have been satisfied.
Right.
So the identity games will come out of software battles, and they'll be more playful.
So we're getting there now with the internet.
We are in that now.
Well, except we haven't had the
cold fusion. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's the problem. We will remain in the software game, and culture is a game now. It's endless manipulating satire on people. I mean, you get on there, you're a guest on the show, you're made fun of, and then the next show comes on, and they have their guests, and everybody, it's called not use value or exchange value, but abuse value. That's what the economy is run on, abuse value, in the software game thing. So how are we going to get out of that software game? Because Fleischman and Pons, when they announced the invention, discovery, the success of it in March '89,
right,
there were a lot of complaints about the faxing of it, and a lot of software arguments about whether it was true or not. And this software game played by the factions who promoted it or didn't promote it was lost in the communication jungle. And the fact of it, which would continue to be proven in labs around the world in the '90s, that cannot get out to the major media.
Right. But even with all this stuff, I mean, of course, we want to get that information out, but there's still a fear that I have is that media, technology, even with the cold fusion, will take over our lives and we'll lose our connection to First Nature altogether.
Technology always takes over your life. The new yoga is to understand how to get detachment from that process. But the detachment that's offered by the religious disciplines, the secret disciplines, the traditional yogic disciplines, the esoteric, aren't adequate to a detachment within the media software itself, within the yoga that's required of the media world that you're worried about. How do we develop that yoga? That's what I'm an expert on.
Well, in the past we've developed it by,
running away.
Exactly.
Right? That won't work. You can't do that anymore.
Work. So we have to use technology to serve us, of course, without losing ourselves in it.
That is the new yoga. What is the strategy used for identity, or to put your identity that you're addicted to in check? And one of the best manuals for that is Finnegan's Wake, which has the history of technology, history of communication, and it requires a training of perception in understanding it, and it helps you have a training of perception in dealing with the Android meme, which I think is where Terence McKenna missed the boat, because he got caught in the ruse of enlightenment. And this argument over enlightenment confuses the issue over perception.
Well, talk about that. I mean, the argument over enlightenment means you transcend the worldly attachment.
Right. Now that, as the Android meme invades your imaginary, your inner consciousness, and maybe even replace you on the computer matrix when you die, how are you going to get detachment from that? That requires perception of the ratio of effects, not a goal. So it means a drama of cognition. The drama of cognition, as we're engaging in right now, as we exchange memes, that drama is what you need to become skilled in perceiving as is translated in the media.
What's a meme?
A meme is a collective ESP. It's the 100-monkey effect. For example, when people started learning to write, and then the whole society was writing, that's a meme that becomes a habit. That's a given.
I see. It becomes like a thought form overlay for the whole culture.
Right. So technologies as collective unconsciousness are memes.
I mean, you cite Finnegan's Wake, but Finnegan's Wake is actually almost an impossible book to read. You have to understand, it's the book of the subconscious, unconscious.
That's right.
Joyce knew, 10 different languages that he wove into that as a way of
not just language, the unconscious of technology.
Yes, but anyone picking up Finnegan's Wake might think it's incomprehensible.
Right, that's where you have a training of perception. It requires, you have to understand the value of it, because it includes all languages and newer technologies. Then it's solidified in a stable book. As you learn how to read Finnegan's Wake, you see it's a mirror to the rest of the world.
Well,
so it's the manual.
Yeah, but what's incredible about Finnegan's Wake, it changes every time you read it.
That's right, which is what it is when you get up on them. There's new news every day, and they change the news. What's important one day is not as important the next day. Now, 100 years ago, societies weren't that fast.
That's right.
So you see, Finney's wake is mirroring the electric speed up right there.
Yeah, and it's circular as well, because
Yeah.
it comes back to the river of time, basically.
That's what I am. I'm a process of interaction of time, the river, and the mountain.
You are.
That's what I am.
How do you see yourself that way? I mean, what do you mean?
Well, then we have to go through the yoga of understanding Finney's wake to see what I mean by that. I make a statement like Joyce does. He makes a statement and then he unfolds whole pages of resonances with that statement. So what I just said, that I am time, the river, and the mountain, resonates with what I already said and what I'll say in the next show or further conversation.
Right, so we will have further conversations. What was the last thing you wanted to say?
Are we near the end?
We are near the end.
We'll be back.
Which is what most technologies say. You sure you're not a spokesperson for the technology itself?
Oh, I can't help but be that. That's the problem.
Well, for anyone who has any idea of what was said here, please call 212-47. Well, for anyone who has any idea of what was said here, please call. Well, for anyone who has any idea of what was said here, please call. Well, for anyone who has any idea of what was said here, please call. Well, for anyone who has any idea of what was said here, please call. Well, for anyone who has any idea of what was said here, please call 212-47.